Hello, welcome back for the video for lesson chapter 6.6. We're going to learn how to solve equations with radicals. So if both sides of an equation are squared, then the solutions to the original equation are solutions to the resulting equation. So that means for me to get rid of or alleviate this radical here, I need to square this. So if I square that, I also have to square this. I have to square both sides is what my property says. So when I square the left-hand side, I get just, this should be a 3x minus 1, 3x minus 1, and then equals 16. And now I can solve from there. So I add 1 to both sides, and I divide by 3, and I get 17/3. And I have to make sure that whatever I get for x, I can put in, and I won't get anything less than 0. So if I were to set 3x minus 1 equal to 0 here, and divide by 3, I find out that x cannot equal 1/3 because it would produce a 0. It actually can't be anything less than 1/3. Because anything less than 1/3 would give me a 0. And x that we came up with is 17/3, so it's okay. So let's look at the next one. It says the square root of 6x plus 1 equals a -5. So I could just follow my properties of squaring both sides, but I have to remember that I cannot get anything. I cannot get a square root in an equation to come out to be a -5. Remember, equations, square root equations can only be positive results. So this one cannot be done. C will be on the extra video that will be made for further. Okay, let's look at letter D. So for us to square and get rid of the square root, it has to be isolated. So we have to move the 6 to the other side. So we have the square root of 5a minus 3 equals a -4. Oops, again, we can't have the square root of something equal to a negative. So this cannot be done either. Okay. Letter E. We've got the fourth root of 4x plus 1 equals 3. So to alleviate this, we're not going to square it, but we have to make it to the fourth root because we have to, or the fourth power, because the root has to equal the power for us to get rid of the radical. So now I have just 4x plus 1 equals 3 to the fourth is 81. And now I'm going to solve for x by using my solving steps. So I subtracted 1 from both sides and then divided by 20. Letter F. We're going to square both sides because this is square root. Now remember, when I square the right, I have to square all of this together, the x minus 2. So that removes the square root. So I have x plus 10 on the left, but on the right, I have x minus 2 times x minus 2. So I have to remember to multiply that out. So we have x plus 10 equals x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. And then combining like terms. And then I'm going to get everything to one side. So I'm going to x squared, and I subtract x from both sides. I have minus 5x, and subtract 10, I have minus 6. Okay, and now I have a trinomial set equal to 0, which means I can try to factor this into x minus 6, x plus 1. I get a minus 5 and a minus 6. And then I can set each of those equal to 0 to solve. And if I put 6 in my square root, I'll still have the square root of a positive 16, so that's okay. If I put a -1 in for x, I'll have the square root of 9, which is okay. So both of those are solutions. Letter G is for the extra video. So let's look at H. So H is squaring both sides. And when I do that, I get a positive, I get 3x plus 4. And then I'm squaring this as well. So that negative goes away. So then I have 2x plus 3. And I'm going to move my x's to the left. So minus 2x, and then I'm going to subtract 4. So I have x equals a -1. And if I put a -1 in for x here, that'll still be a positive under that radical. And if I put a -1 in here, I'll still have a positive. So if I put in a -1 here, the square root of 1, does that equal the opposite of if I put in the square root of 1 here? Will be the square root of 1. And they don't equal because you can't have square root of 1 does not equal the negative of square root of 1. So there's no solution here. And if you put any of these in Desmos, you'll be able to see that where there's no solution. I and J are going to be on the extra video for practice. And then let's look at K. So we're going to square both sides. Remember the right-hand side, this has to be squared together. So we'll have just, whoops, that goes away. We'll have x plus 3 equals, and then this is really the square root of x minus 3 times the square root of x minus 3. So this is the square root of 9 minus 3 times the square root of x minus 3 times the square root of x plus 9. So we'll have x plus 3 equals 3 minus 6 times the square root of x plus 9. So 3 plus 9 is 12 minus 6 times the square root of x. And I'm going to move everything to one side. So 0 equals 12 minus 6 times the square root of x minus 3. So 0 equals, combining 12 and 3 is 9 minus 6 times the square root of x minus x. So I need to get rid of this square root. So I'm going to move everything to the left except for this square root. So I'll have x minus 9 equals minus 6 times the square root of x. And to get rid of this square root of x, I need to square both sides. So this is a double problem here. So that's going to square to be x squared minus 18x plus 81 equals 36. And then the square root of x squared will just be x. And now I can move that to the other side, and I'll have x squared minus 54x plus 81 equals 0. And so then I'm looking for factors here. And 9 and 9 won't work. So 3 and 17. No, 3 and 27 won't work. 7. So I don't believe this will factor. Let's just put this one in because it's always good to check. So if we have the square root of x plus 3 equals square root of x minus 3. I'm going to make a table here. Oh, table. Okay. So I'm going to just do them as separate equations here so we can see if they ever cross each other. And it looks like they're growing at the same rate. I don't think that they're ever going to cross paths. Nope. So this one has no solution. A lot of no solutions today, and that happens. So catch me back for the extra video to support for this lesson.